What's up, everybody?
Hello, hello.
Welcome to the pod. Again. Another time.
And that is why I hate you.
I think this is 10 consecutive weeks this will be. So I can stop counting now. I don't think I counted last week. I don't think I noted it, but I think this is 10. So
It's possible. I never counted, so
I'm not sure. 100%
I don't think I
sure.
ever counted.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's 10. So I can stop being a counter and being like, look, we did 10 in a row. Because now it's just, it's just no longer an accomplishment. It's just a trend. I'm so disappointed. That sounds terrible. My kids are home. I was so looking
You got to have
forward
a half a day.
Well, yeah, because my kids slept over at my brother's last night.
Yep.
And they were supposed to stay the day and then sleep over again tonight. And they were like, we want to sleep 2 nights in a row. We want to sleep over 2 nights. They were all excited. Like, it was their idea.
Yeah.
And they were all excited about it. And then this morning I get a text from my brother and he's like, they want to come home. It's like, oh, I was looking forward. My wife's not going to be home until late if she comes home, and then she's got to go to choir practice for Easter. So it was going to be a mat day.
The wind's taken straight out of your sails.
I was like, we're going to record a podcast. We're going to play some Lethal Company. I'm going to set up my new 3D printer again. It's going to be a great day. And now here the kids are again. I broke another 3D printer. Okay, so I started having an issue with extrusion, which I looked up, and it was a very common issue with the model I had where it would under extrude because the extruder needed to be cleaned out or something. I was like, well, I'm going to try cleaning or changing the nozzle first. So I started to go change the nozzle, and I think I shorted something out because I think you have to use a wrench, like a traditional wrench, and a socket wrench at the same time. So you hold part of it with a wrench and then use the socket wrench to spin the nozzle and turn it out. And I think I tapped part of the circuit board with the metal wrench because I heard a little noise. And then it just, all of a sudden, the extruder was giving an error, like not heating properly. So it might have been me this time. But Amazon's got 30-day return policy. So I got a new one here. And the other one's about to go back. Hey, dude, they make billions of dollars.
No, do what you need to do.
Amazon makes billions and billions and billions of dollars.
I had to sit and listen to you bitching at an order while we were trying to set up for Lethal Company. So
what was that about?
You said that they fucked something up, and
that's right.
You had to pay for a new one or something for an increased price.
It was because we're gonna get the front re-landscaped, like actually this time. Like we did it ourselves, and it's not great. Like it was okay when we did it, but now it's just like everything's overgrown. It's all pricker bushes, which nobody likes. So we're gonna have somebody actually come and put in real trees and mulch and like clean everything up and make it look nice. So I have new spotlights and stuff because every year I buy new solar lights and I spend a fortune on them. And I was like, this year I'm just gonna buy permanent like electric lights that will last. So I placed an order for those, and Amazon lost them in transit. And it popped up and was like, they're gonna be late. And I was like, okay, they're gonna be late. And then it popped up and was like, they're still late. We're gonna get them though. And then it was like, oh, we think they're coming today. And then it was like, they're lost. You can get a refund. So I requested the refund, but then I went to reorder the items I got, and they're not on sale at the same price anymore. So I was like, well, what the fuck? I'm not paying like $100. I got them really cheap. Like, I'm not paying $100 more for the same item because they fucked up. And I contacted their customer service and said, hey, you guys didn't deliver these on time. And it said it was lost in transit. And now I want to buy them again, but I can't get them at the same price. Can you redo my order? And they're like, no, we don't have any option for that. I was like, well, that's the dumbest shit ever. Like any normal retail brick and mortar store would price match for you.
Yeah.
Like if you have to do a return or something. So I was very mad. And then literally last night they went on sale for even less money. They were like super cheap. They were cheap before. Now they're super cheap. Even my wife was like, holy shit, that's really cheap. We should get more.
Yeah.
So we ordered them. It was like one of those flash deals where you can only order one.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to order one, and my wife had to order one. Anyway, so whatever, it worked out. But yeah, fuck Amazon. Fuck them. They make billions and billions of dollars. They can fucking.
they're essentially a monopoly. So
yeah, so they could take my broken printer back and give me a brand new one. I don't give a shit. It was only like 2 weeks old, a week old. Anyway,
Yeah, I know. That's when you told me. I was just like, the fuck? What did you
yeah,
do?
but I think it was my fault.
Like, you didn't make my wallet, and here you are
to,
breaking another printer.
to be fair, the last printer was their problem. It was a shitty printer
Yeah.
with a clogging issue because it happened to two back to back, and it was just.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up and was like, yeah, this printer's a piece of shit. This one, I think it was the extruder issues aside. I think it was still my fault. Whatever, fuck it. I don't give a shit. They can take my money back. I don't care. But yeah, my kids are home. I'm not crazy happy about that because I was really looking forward to Matt's day of fun. Matthew has fun, and now that's not happening.
It'd be a terrible storybook.
I
Matt
think it would be
slept on
great.
the couch. He
I would-
kept sleeping on the couch. He played hockey. Got
That-
mad. Went to
no.
sleep on the couch.
No. Okay. Yeah. All right. Fine. No, man. Not with the new meds, man. Now I'm like, I gotta wake up. I gotta do stuff.
You were
No naps.
you were happily complaining about being happy.
I know. It's weird.
It's so weird.
Well, because it's just I'm so used to being a curmudgeon and not outgoing and not social at all, and now like my meds are making me feel the opposite, and it's weird. I'm starting to get used to it though.
Good.
It's good. Like things are I have things I need to do, and I just do them now. Like
Yeah. Well, eventually
I'm
you'll
not
just
putting
become a
anything
whole new
off.
man, and you'll abandon me, and that'll be fine.
No, that's not gonna happen.
You'll be better for it.
But I find myself not putting things off like I typically would. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't really need to do that now. I'll do it tomorrow, and then it's like 6 months later. Now I'm just like, oh, I got to do that. Okay, let me do it quick. So I don't know. I should have done this a couple years ago. Oh well.
Yeah, I hear you.
What are you gonna do?
After putting my kids to bed, and my wife and I decided we were going to finally complete Diablo 4. So,
Oh, I didn't know you hadn't completed it, dude. I have never even
it's
played
not
Diablo 4 because I wouldn't give
it's
it a
not a long
chance.
campaign, but they don't give you a horse until like you're 3/4 through the story,
Oh,
and the map is huge.
yeah, I heard it was big. That's
So,
what she said.
but and I also have the habit of falling asleep during Diablo because you don't really like this one is probably the most active I had to be playing Diablo, besides like the second one. But I would start falling asleep because you just hold the button and that's it. But this time I have to like dodge around. But regardless, we got to the ending. We beat the ending, and one thing gets me: we beat the boss.
Did you say your wife's name?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
You could check. You could
I'll
double
check.
check,
I'll
but I
check.
don't think I did. But we beat Lilith, and then the game gives you essentially two fetch quests
What, after you beat it?
after you beat it, and they're both failed. You fail both fetch quests, and then it gives you a cutscene. And my wife, after this long monologue, went, "That better not be the end." And then the credits roll, and I just started dying. I was like, "This is exactly what I was expecting."
Yup. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I hate, games are
Blizzard
weird.
special, baby.
Games are weird like that because you can play a game that's really, really just a great experience all the way through and it has good story, and then it ends and it's like that. It's just kind of like end, and you're like, okay, fine. But then there's games that are just like you didn't really want to play that all the way through, and you grinded your way through the game. You finally got to the end, and you want some sort of satisfaction, and it's just like Finn, and you're like, what the fuck? I played all this for nothing.
Yeah, it ends it on like this esoteric style cliffhanger, like with the character's intentions
for Diablo 4. So you got to wait another fucking 10 years for the
for
for
a sequel.
entry?
Yeah, and we don't know if it's going to be crap or not, or if Blizzard's ever going to be able to make one.
How many years were between 2 and 3? Like 20 years? It was a long time.
I will say like this: I was a kid when 2 came out.
I was a kid when 2 came out, and I'm a little older than you. Because I remember being in at least high school when that came out and playing it.
And then
did I ever tell you about my brother playing
Diablo? It? No.
My brother,
little brother or older brother?
My middle brother.
Okay.
So he played. I'm the oldest.
I forgot how many. Yeah.
My middle brother.
That's right. That's right.
He was really young because he was probably in middle school at the time.
Okay.
And he played Diablo 2 like a fucking maniac online. And he had this one friend that was like a dude that was older than him. It was kind of like I was like creepy, worried about it, but then it was like, no, it's just some dude that plays with him.
That's how Diablo was.
Yeah,
Diablo
that's
2
just
was
how it was.
just like that.
But they set up a phishing website where
Oh
it
my
was like,
god.
get 100 gold, enter your like log in here, and then
Oh,
people would give them their credentials, and they'd log into their account and steal their shit. It was
that's
a big
so
because this
terrible.
was like infancy of the internet. It was still
There was
the
news on
late
that. I
90s.
remember when that
Yeah, it
happened.
was the late 90s, so it wasn't like
Yeah.
people didn't know about phishing schemes. Like they were just like, "Wow, cool! I'm gonna put in my info." Not like
Yeah.
today where you'd be like, "Fuck that!" And oh my god, did so many people do it? And they just steal their shit.
Well, the earliest times people in Diablo 2, what they would have you do is they'll have you like team up with them and you'll go into their world
Right.
and they're like, okay, I'm going to trade you this.
But you had to
So
drop them
just
on the
drop
ground.
all this stuff and they'll pick all your shit up and
Then
then
just
leave. They'll log out and you'll never see them again. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
But it was funny though, because like people would do it and you just laugh like when people
Yeah.
would get it done to them. As long as you weren't dumb enough to let it happen to you, if you'd see it happen to somebody, you'd just be like, "Ah, you dumb asshole! Look what you
I
did."
remember one. I'll call this motherfucker a
Like,
Chad. I will
all right,
use the term Chad.
you're gonna
who did
drop
that.
it.
He would drop axes and stuff to me all the time.
Be like, all right,
He
you
just-
gotta walk, you gotta go all the way over by that tree, and then I'm gonna drop the stuff, okay? And then you drop your stuff by the tree, and then we gotta race to each other's piles. There's always some idiot.
Or
Anyway,
they'll just turn on aggro and then kill you and take your
Yeah.
shit.
Yep.
Then take your
What-
ear and then that's it. Like,
but you know what? That was fun because that was
Yeah.
like it
that was Wild
actually
West
big.
shit.
That was
That
right.
was real Wild West
Very
shit.
Wild West, and that's how it would be in the actual
Yeah.
gaming world. It would be Wild West. You'd have to hope the guy didn't just kill you and take your shit. You know?
And you know what? It made me appreciate like people like that. There are I don't remember the screen name, but the guy who like basically mentored me into teaching me how to play the game. Never met this person.
Right.
But
that's
they
how it
helped me out, and that was it. I remember that person. I remember playing Lineage 2, which was like one of the first MMOs I ever played, and the player's name was Scruples. I remember it was a dumb name,
my
but they were
brother's
my buddy for
was
a
Soup.
long time in the game.
He played with this guy named Soup. Yep. And he was like, they were best friends because they played Diablo all the time. And the dude was probably a teenager or
Yep.
like a very young adult. And they played all the time. They talked on IRC. They used IRC to
Oh my
chat, or
God.
ICQ, and both.
I was about to
And
say ICQ. I remember.
They used both.
Yeah.
And they would. And then the one dude came up with this phishing scheme, and they stole people's shit together. And they'd split
I feel
the
like
bounties.
WoW just ruined that for everybody. I'll be honest. I know it was bad before that, but WoW just tilted that online gameplay over where
Well,
everybody
and
has to play a certain
What
way
was
in
the
order to
deal in
succeed.
3? Wasn't 3 like the deal was it was
Diablo
they had
3?
the auction house and
The
people were
auction
mad about
house.
that?
The game really was very lackluster. It pretty much took WoW. It took a lot of ideas from WoW since the same company,
Right.
like from character design to storytelling.
But
and
there
the
shouldn't
auction
be
house.
an auction house. It should be you either find shit naturally or
Mhm.
you come across a player who's got the shit you want and you trade.
Well,
And you're
2,
like,
if I
"Oh,
remember
shit,
correctly,
I found somebody
2
that
had a form of an auction house. It was
did,
more of
but
like
it
a
was
trade deposit area,
yes.
but it wasn't as egregious as 3.
Yeah, I think the problem with 3 was the amount of money people were getting. And
And
people,
like you couldn't pay real money in the auction house in
Right.
Diablo 2,
right.
which
had to buy
Diablo
their
3
currency.
obviously. Yeah. In Diablo 3 you spent real, you could just say, "Hey, I have
Here's $2,000
$1,000
for that
bucks."
gold sword
Yeah, which
that I'm going to use.
that would kill me if I spent
How is that any
if I
different than
spend like
NFTs,
50
right?
bucks. Very
It's
true.
the same thing.
If I spent 50 bucks on a cosmetic in a game or just a stronger
I
weapon,
know.
like I realize, like if I pre-order a game and they said get this sword and the sword gives you like this bonus in the beginning,
Yeah.
I realize like how empty it is. Like not even through the beginning of the game because I don't use that weapon anymore.
Right.
I never stick with it. I'm like, this was
Me neither.
a
Yeah.
terrible purchase.
It's never a great
Like-
weapon. You're right. You just get something else after the fact.
You stay, you feel kind of strong in the beginning,
Although,
but that's
of
about it.
I kind of play the opposite. Like I remember like playing even Horizon and playing Borderlands. I'd get a gun and like I'd just use that gun the whole game.
The whole game.
I'd be like, oh, that's a stronger. I like this gun. I just keep the gun I had. Like that one's way stronger, but I like this gun. I'm a big fan
Yeah.
of weak weapons in games anyway. I like pistols and I like bows and arrows. I don't like the machine guns and stuff. I'd rather like when I used to play GoldenEye, give me the pistol. I just run around with a pistol. I wouldn't
Mm.
pick up the AR, the AK-47s or anything like that. I just run around with a pistol shooting people because it was more
Revolvers,
satisfying to me.
revolvers, bow and arrows. And after my time in the military, I learned to love like the assault rifle. There's something just on like
Sure. Well, you're
semi-automatic.
talking
I
about
love
really
assault
in real
rifles.
life. I'm talking about in
No. I'm talking
games.
about in video games. In video
Oh,
games
okay.
is the reason why I just started liking them.
Got it. All right. Well,
I
fair
used to
enough.
be a shotgun kid. Like just
See, I prefer
so
shotguns in games too. Like if I have the choice between an assault rifle and a shotgun, I go with the shotgun. It's just
shotgun.
more
Yeah.
satisfying to just blow a hole in the enemy instead of like
Mm.
spraying them with a bunch of bullets. It just feels
See,
more
I
fun.
don't like the automatic weapons as much because they're not as fun. It's literally hold the button, they die, which
Yeah,
is the
that I think
problem I
that's
have
what it.
in
I think that's why I
Diablo.
prefer the melee stuff and pistols and bow and arrow because I like the challenge of it. So it's a lot
Yeah,
harder to get a quick headshot with a pistol than just spray and pray, as they used to say.
but that's why like going back to our original point with like
We had an original
I
point.
love it. Well, we were talking about Diablo initially.
Yeah.
With Diablo 2, I started trying to play Path of Exile. And Path of Exile is made essentially, from what I remember, is the original team that made Diablo 2 kind of branching
I
out.
don't even know the name of the game.
And Path of Exile is free to play,
Oh, okay.
but it's so insanely
Microtransaction filled
dense.
or
I mean, it is, but not like
not
it's
to the
not
point
super.
where you have
Again,
to.
the game is free to play, so that like the only way they can really make money is
It's got to be
through
a little bit, yeah.
microtransactions. But I played it, but it's so goddamn dense that I get so overwhelmed. Like you open up the talent tree and you get like this map of nodes that cover the screen,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
I hate
oh,
that in
oh
games.
no, I can't do this.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate when they overcomplicate it. Just keep it simple. Give me a
Yeah.
class and give me a pretty reasonable tree under that class and let me decide what I want to do. Speaking of, I forgot, the new South Park game came out today.
Oh, it did
And
come out.
it's
Okay.
multiplayer, it's co-op online. So at some point we might have to get that to play together. Although I don't know if it's on, maybe it's on Steam. I know it's on
Yeah.
PlayStation. I'd have to assume it's on
I'm
Steam.
sure it's on
So maybe
Steam.
at
I'm
some point
sure.
we could get that and play it. Because I'm still going through. I started replaying The Last of Us, the
Okay.
remaster for PS5. Because I played the original, then I played the, I guess, PS4 remaster, and now I'm playing the PS5 remaster. And I was started Gotham Knights 2 to play that a little bit. It's just this year's like, I don't know. It's a very lackluster year for video game releases. So
Well, I
I'm
mean, the year
trying to
just
kind
started,
of,
so
yeah, but even looking ahead at what's on tap as far as each month, as far
I
as what's
guess.
been announced, there doesn't seem to be anything that really sticks out to me. Usually every year there's one or two games that are just big titles that stick out and I'm drawn to. This year I don't feel like there's anything along those lines. So I'm trying to kind of get through some of the back catalog of just stuff that was like, I want to play it, but it's not that important that it's going to be at the top of my list. So I'm just going to put it on my list of things I'd like to play at some point when I have time. And
Yeah.
this year looks like it's going to be a year of having time to kind of catch up on some of those B titles that I hadn't played. So we'll
I mean,
see.
Helldivers
Well,
2, Dragon's Dogma 2 are
I
two
hadn't even
games that I
heard of
really,
Helldivers 2 until like a week ago. So
which is crazy. Like I played the original Helldivers when I got my PS4. That was one of the first games I got, and
I don't think
it
I've
was
ever
too
heard of it.
hard for my wife and I to play together. It was just way too hard.
Right.
But I enjoyed it, and I was like, man, this is Starship Troopers.
I'm
This is goddamn Starship Troopers. This is
I'm
awesome.
slightly jealous that you have a wife that plays video games with you. I mean, my wife will play like Jackbox games and stuff with
Yeah.
us, but I couldn't see her playing any sort of co-op
Look,
game.
the
She
amount
doesn't
of
play South
times
Park Snow Day.
the the amount of times my wife dropped a car on my head in Gears of War has been insurmountable. And
I played through
and
the
I
Gears of
loved
War
every
series
moment.
myself.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't a big fan until I was co-oping with her, and I was like, well, you know what? I really do enjoy this.
I played the first Gears of War when it came out on Xbox and didn't play any. And then like 2 years ago, I went through and I played all of them. 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, and 5. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I actually enjoyed the games. I always
Yeah.
thought of them as shitty running guns, but they weren't as bad as I remember them being, and the story was pretty decent.
Yeah, I hate the story of the last one, but that's just
Yeah,
me. It
well,
was really
Gears
dumb. I'm
5, I think.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
just really dumb. And it's
Well,
like, you give us a story progression. It's either the main white guy character or the black guy. We know which one's the canon ending. Like, spoilers for whoever didn't play that game. We know who's not going to survive.
yeah, but like I think they intended it as a trilogy, and then we're just like, these are really popular. We got to keep
Yeah,
making them.
no, that's literally what happened.
And they tried to extend the story, and 4 was just like, okay, and then 5 was just like,
yeah. They weren't going to kill the girl.
No, of course not.
But I was like, why kill any of them?
They weren't going to kill her. They weren't
really
going to kill
dumb.
Marcus necessarily.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they were. Well, I can't remember his son's name.
I like how they killed the Hispanic guy in what was it? Was
4.
it 3? Well, it was in 4. It was in 4 they finally killed him. I'm like, this man had no luck from the first game.
I know.
It's like we just kept fucking his life up more and
in
more.
4, he's like an old man, and he's like, he's just trying to hang in there, and they're like, nope.
No, you need to come back, man. We need our refrigerator group to come back together because they're all refrigerator people.
Yes, they're very odd-shaped humans.
Yeah, like I literally, if somebody made a mod where all of them were refrigerators, you would not see a difference.
That's great. They're all shaped like Grimace.
Yeah. Oh god.
But muscles instead of
watermelon shoulders.
Although I don't know. I don't know what Grimace is made of. Maybe that's all muscle. I don't know.
Maybe it is all muscle.
He's just one big pair of muscle.
Maybe he's a giant walking butt plug. We don't know.
I mean, that's realistically. Did I ever tell you about the website I made when I was in high school? I tried to start a website called the Cool Kids Club. I tried to start like a news fan.
Why do I feel like they all start with K?
No, it was CKC, Cool Kids Club. And it was like me and 2 of my friends, and I made avatars of each of us. And I was trying to start like a fun news site where we had like parody news, kind of like Crack.
Okay.
It was before
Crack. Like irreverent kind of.
Yeah. And I had one of the first articles I posted was it was Grimace's gender revealed, and I had photoshopped a big dick onto Grimace.
Oh my god.
Big purple schlong onto Grimace. What? Oh, I wish I could still find that site.
And you know, during the time that they created those characters, that they were all high on coke. So like, just one of them just saw a butt plug in their weird like hippie room. That's it.
100%. I don't know if I had a domain, if it was like coolkidsclub.com or if it was like a GeoCities build originally. I wish I could find that in archive.org and find my Photoshop picture of Grimace with a big old dick. Big purple big purple cock.
You just brought me back with that one. That and LiveJournal.
Oh, LiveJournal, yeah.
AIM.
LiveJournal is how I got all my house shoes. Did I ever tell you that I have, the show House MD?
Yeah.
I have every single pair of sneakers he wore in the entire run of the show.
That is so odd.
Okay, it's not odd. There was one episode, and they often made it a focus, his feet a focus, his sneakers he was wearing a focus in each episode. And he always had
is kind of his thing.
There's only 2 episodes he didn't have Nikes in. There's one where he wore Asics Gel Nimbus 7s, and there's one where he wore a pair of New Balance. I don't know what the model was, but I have those too. But there was one episode where he had these dope they were called Nike Dunkestos. Well, they're called Dunkestos or Dunkestos. And I saw them on, they had him, he was on a flight and he had his feet up on the chair. And I was like, those are the coolest fucking sneakers. And I found them and I ordered them. And then I just started getting into it. And then I found this LiveJournal page where somebody was literally posting, like, taking screen grabs of his shoes in each episode and then trying to identify the models. And then I started doing it too with them as the seasons went on. And then it was like a hobby. I like tried to find them on eBay. So I'd go hunt them down. I still find it
weird, but yes.
But I literally have every single pair of sneakers he ever wore on that show. The only thing I don't have that he wore on his feet was there was an episode where he wore a pair of black and orange bowling shoes that I never got because I was like, I don't need a pair of black and orange bowling shoes, right? That's the only thing I never bought. But I have every other pair of sneakers that or footwear he had on that show. So I have like 35 pairs of sneakers upstairs in a rack that I don't wear anymore.
I don't understand people who have like a million pairs of shoes.
Well, for me, it was a hobby. It wasn't a collecting
No,
sneakers. It was identifying the shoe and the model,
okay,
and then hunting them down and trying to find, because a lot of times they were 2 or 3 years old, so they weren't
yeah,
like readily available. So it was trying to find them somewhere to buy. So it was just like a fun hobby for me for a while.
yeah. You're just weaponizing your hoarding. I get it.
It's not a lot. Like I said, it's only like 30 something pairs. It's not like there's like hundreds, like some people
No,
have.
I know that's what's
And
fine.
I have
Yeah,
them all
no.
upstairs in a nice
You all
little
need to
rack.
be able to vent your flaws.
Fuck you. They're awesome. But I stopped wearing them when we got a dog because they would get covered in dog hair and I'd get upset.
Yeah.
But
no, that's
that was when we
understandable.
were in an apartment. Now that we're in a house, I feel like I could probably wear them. They wouldn't get covered in dog hair because the dog hair is spread out throughout a house now instead of a small little
It's just an even layer of dog hair everywhere.
It's everywhere now. But it's not. It's everywhere, but it's a thinner layer. It's not one big layer.
Yeah.
I should start wearing them again. I'm going to start wearing them again.
Covered in pig gack.
Yeah. More or less.
So
I guess I could sell them, but I don't think anybody'd care now. It's like
no,
a complete collection of all the shoes from House MD. Nobody give a shit.
You know, you'll find some weirdo on eBay that'd be totally into that.
Yeah, that's true. You never know. There's sites dedicated to it. Like there's I know there's a site called filmjackets.com, I think might still exist. They just identify jackets and coats worn in movies and TV shows, and then post them on there for people to buy and like links. And then they a lot of times they sell, what am I trying to say? Replica. Yeah. Like replica versions. So I don't know. I got into that for a while too. I went through a Jack Bauer phase where I bought, I have like 2 or 3 of the jackets Jack Bauer wore in 24. And I have the boots that the Punisher wore in the Punisher TV series. And I have the coat he wore in the TV series. I got into that for a while. I would buy stuff I saw on, people wearing. As long as it wasn't like the super expensive stuff, because a lot of times they were like $800 jackets. Yeah, or like Punisher wore like $100 Carhartt jacket. It wasn't crazy expensive. And the boots were... It'd be kind of
weird to see Punisher wearing literally expensive shit that's not body armor.
And the boots were just like tactical boots that any police officers wear. In fact, I literally got them at a tactical gear store in town where they sell police officer clothing and uniform stuff.
Okay.
Oh, dude, I think I saw James Cromwell yesterday.
Okay.
You're not
he
excited
lives around
at all.
Here.
I know he lives.
I've met him. I've literally helped him buy a TV.
So first off, he lives within like 20 minutes of me. I think we've talked about this before. And he's always at the local environmental protest. So if you want to meet him, you just wait for a protest and go to it. But I was at Dunkin' Donuts coming out of the drive-thru. And I'm driving out and I see this guy, this old, really tall, bold, old guy.
That's the first thing. He's just
walking
really
into Dunkin'
Donuts.
Man. But he's got these really flashy clothes on, like a really nice coat, nice pants, nice shirt with a tie. And I was like, what's this flashy old fuck trying to... He's fucking old, dude. And then I went, oh, shit, that's James Cromwell.
That's the Babe Farmer.
As he's walking in, I opened the window and went, are you James Cromwell? And he just let the door close. I don't think you heard me.
I hope he didn't hear you.
I thought about getting out of the car and I was like, no, I'm not that kind of person. Like, I don't care.
You go from curmudgeon to doofus really quickly.
Well, you know why? Because recently I've watched Succession was on, and he was on Succession, which was a great show, and that was just within the last couple of years. And I've been watching the American Horror Story, so just within the last year, I watched the Asylum season he was in.
Yeah, so like he was great in Asylum.
He's great in a lot of things, but he's very fresh in my mind for those 2 shows that I've that I've watched within the last year, and he's fantastic in both. I mean, he was in The Detour, which was a comedy on I think TBS, which you've probably never watched, but it was a fucking hilarious show. He was on that. It was a great show. He's just one of those guys that's in everything, and he's great. Yeah. And
like the lead singer of Coheed and Cambria lives around here.
Nyack he lived in. He got married at the...
He probably moved.
You know the wedding venue that's right like up the street from us that closed down? He got married there.
Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he came to Sam's Club. Yep. Which was weird.
Yeah, I think
I was working there.
I might have already told the story to you or on the podcast, so I'll just make it quick. But I worked with a dude who was best friends with the band. And when I was working with him, he was like, yo, yeah, I'm going to see my buddies. They're this band, Coheed and Cambria. You should come check them out. And I was like, I'd never heard of them, whatever. And like years later, I was like, oh, shit, these guys are awesome. I wish I had gotten to be friends with them. That would have been dope.
My first time hearing about them was playing I think it was Rock Band, and they had one of my favorite songs on there. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Rock Band's good. We need to play Rock Band.
Yeah,
Did I tell you
I
my
love that
cousin
game.
got it recently?
No,
My
you
cousin
mentioned
that
it,
you know, she picked it
but
up. Yeah, we should go over to her house and play before she moves
absolutely.
away in like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, then we should
Yeah,
absolutely.
we should. I should
And
ask her.
then was it Armando Sante lives around here?
Yep, he lives up in
He
the Catskills area, I believe.
yeah, he looks like he should be on a beach every
He
day.
does. I know. Paul Rudd owned a house up there. I don't know if he still
Paul Rudd,
does.
yeah.
I think Seth Rogen, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the other person? Jason Segel lives up there, I
Jason
believe.
Segel,
They all live in
Chris
the
Rock.
Catskills. Yeah, they all live up in the Catskills or have houses in the
Okay.
Catskills.
Yeah, they all live around in this area. So
I believe
we get wild sightings
what's
of them.
Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell. I believe they own a home
Kristen
up there.
Bell, yes, I know about Kristen Bell.
Yeah, so they're all
But
up
yeah,
there in
so
that area.
it's weird to see them because it is definitely double take worthy.
Well, it makes sense because like if they're people that lived in the city to for their careers to get famous, and then they're like, well, I've got a lot of money now and I don't want to live in the city. I'll just live in this nice rural area that's an hour drive away
from everybody.
Yeah, and have my own land and be left alone.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I would do too. So yeah, good for them. So yeah, did you do your taxes yet?
Yeah.
You did them already?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm so late every year, and I have to use an accountant because I have to do all the business stuff, and I don't know how to do all that shit.
Yeah.
So he does all the business paperwork and everything for me, and I'm always late every year. And now I'm like waiting. I guess they're due in a few weeks, right? But I always forget every year that LLC stuff is due, I think, in March, not April. And every year I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get that to you tomorrow. And he's like, dude, it's due tonight. And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, it's March, not April for businesses. I always fucking forget. They always just like, I'll file for an extension. But I'm still waiting to see what we get back on taxes. Do you think we're going to get, what's it going to be this year? Is this going to be a year where we get money back, or is this going to be a year where they take all our money?
I don't think it's going to be substantial this year.
I like the years where they give us money back.
This isn't one of those years, sir.
Very rarely happens. Well, you know what? It kind of happens pretty decently for us because my wife claims 0 dependents, so they take out more money than they need to. So then when we do our taxes and claim 2 dependents, they give us money back usually. It's like almost like a mini savings account for the year. So we'll see. Some years they don't. Like I remember we owed money a couple years ago, and I was like, how does that even happen? I guess because I don't pay any taxes during the year.
Yeah.
Because I'm an LLC.
When I was in the Army, the one thing I did, and I wish we still did it, but having someone else's opinion in your life and having kids always changes shit. I literally only saved $150 for myself to spend.
Right.
And then I put everything else in my savings. That's how I had like a whole bunch of money.
That's what I always did.
And I was just like, why wasn't this never brought up to me to do? I get it. When I was in the Army, I didn't have to pay for certain things. So I get it. You're not going to be able to save that much money. But even saving $20 or $50 just for yourself,
kids, any of those skills
for you to have fun to spend, and then then you split it off to what you need to spend on to survive, and then the rest goes into savings.
My daughter asked me about retirement the other day, as far as because my wife's mother is retiring. And so my daughter was asking me about it, and I was trying to explain to her, like, she's like, how do people just not work? And I was trying to explain to her how retirement works and how the government gives you a little money, but a lot of people have to have retirement funds. They don't teach you any of that. Like nobody teaches you that shit. And if you end up doing it too late, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And you're just going to work until you're 90.
My parents never had a savings account for me or my sister. First thing we did with our kids was build a savings account, account, and put money aside for them.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
And just like that seems responsible to do. And when they're old enough to understand,
to get a start,
teaching that to them.
Just something for them to get a start and have a start when the time comes when they're adults, to be like, okay, here's your bank account, here's what's in it. And then, to be like, here's how you manage this. Here's how you take care of this. Here's how you, but like nobody teaches you retirement stuff. Nobody teaches you basic accounting stuff. Nobody teaches you how to save money, and how to manage your budget. And then you end up with people like, I know so many people that have like tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt not because they needed to, because they chose to. Because they were just like, oh, we want all this shit we don't need, and we're just going to put it on credit cards.
Put it on credit cards and worry about it later.
Nobody teaches
the
live within your
procrastination
means,
button.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so, and then they just get fucked because the rates are so bad. They're just totally fucked by the end of it.
That's my main reason for staying away from credit cards. Like, I used to use it, and I paid them off and was just done with them.
Right.
Because I realized about myself, I'll procrastinate. Like, I don't.
It's the temptation.
I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to pay for it.
You don't necessarily want to give yourself the temptation.
So I just stay away from them altogether. And no, you can't build your credit. I already did. I don't need to.
Yeah, if you
I already have. I have other debts I can build my credit towards now. I don't need to get a credit card to do that to myself.
Yep. No, agreed. You've got bills and stuff and mortgage payments, whatever. You got things you're already paying. So no, but it's so stupid that we don't teach basic skills. Like, you got to go take a fucking earth science class to learn a bunch of earth science stuff that's interesting and cool, but maybe you'll never fucking need to know in your life, but not basic life skills or sex ed.
This seems really this seemed really confusing to me that, like, we in elementary and growing up in high school or the general schooling, we teach niche things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But not life skills.
And then nothing with life skills. But then when you go into college, you're expected to know life skills, and then you are now focusing on your niche thing while doing a bunch of busy work, doing the general things you already came up doing through elementary school to 12th grade. Like, it doesn't make fucking sense to me.
Yeah, and
I know English. Why the fuck do I now have to do these English classes again?
Because you want to read books. And they're going to teach you about what the real meaning of the book is, so that when you read a book, you don't just enjoy the story, you're able to get the deeper meaning and symbolism. Did I ever tell you about when I was in 10th grade and my English teacher, I had an argument with my English teacher about that?
Oh, did you?
We were reading, I believe we were reading, oh my God, what's the name? What's the book with I can't believe I can't remember the name of the book. What's Harper Lee's book?
I don't know who Harper Lee is.
Oh, come on, dude.
Oh, you're talking about Animal? No, we're not talking about Animal Farm.
No, what's the fucking name of that book?
Dude, right. I don't know what book is in your fucking brain.
I can't believe I can't remember To Kill a Mockingbird. God damn, my brain is terrible.
I didn't read To Kill a Mockingbird until I was since I was in high school. I don't remember.
So we were reading it in high school, and like, we're doing all these units where each chapter, it's like, okay, this is what this really means. And when she wrote this paragraph, she's really symbolizing. And one day I was just like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, Matthew. How do you know? How do you know what, Matthew? How do you know that's what she meant? What do you mean that? How do I know that's what you meant? Well, we're reading a paragraph about a staircase. Maybe it's just a staircase. Maybe, like, we're just interpreting it this way, and that's not what she meant, and she really just meant it was a staircase, and it's not some fucking metaphor or simile or whatever bullshit. And she got mad at me, and then I told her, I gave her the lyrics to Smells Like Teen Spirit. And I said, okay, can you tell me what the meaning is behind this? And she started to try to analyze it, and I went, nope, wrong, because Kurt Cobain specifically said the lyrics mean absolutely nothing. They're just fucking nonsense he came up with. There's no deeper meaning behind them. I was like, so maybe we shouldn't spend so much time trying to figure out the deeper meaning in these works of literature when the authors may have just been trying to write a good story and they didn't have all this bullshit that you're interpreting in your way. Like, maybe we should just allow people to interpret things in their own way instead of you saying, hey, kids, this is what you're supposed to think when you read this book. Maybe let us interpret it however it interprets in our mind.
And the craziest thing is that happens with the Bible all the goddamn time.
I mean, every book, yes, the Bible is especially egregious. I've been to
so many different churches growing up because, minister mother and all this stuff. Like, growing up, so many different churches. I mean, I am surprised I don't know Spanish really well because I've been to like 4 different Hispanic churches as well. I've been to so many different denominations, different everything. One thing that they all had in common, they all interpreted the same passages fucking differently because it's whatever the pastor
Yeah.
decided what the interpretation was.
Which is the way it
Unless
should
they're
be,
part of
though.
a
That's my
community.
point. Like, interpret
Yeah.
it how it affects your life. Like, take the words, understand the face value meaning, and then interpret them how you will. You know?
Yep.
And yes, of course, there are books where the author is writing with a very specific meaning in mind, but we don't have to overanalyze everything
Yes.
to get a point out of
Absolutely.
it. Because I'm telling you, there's no author where every single sentence they write down, they're thinking about the deeper meaning behind it. They're not. They're writing. It's just
It's literally, it rings of that thing I brought up before when somebody goes, "Oh man, I want to get my house all spick and span." Oh, what, you racist against Hispanics? What the fuck are you talking about? Well, that statement was bore in like the history of this, that, like, you just read into. I didn't even know any of that.
yeah.
And so what I said had nothing to do with what you just fucking
Well, you should have
interpreted.
fucking known, Joaquin.
Why would I do that?
Okay, so tell me about the differences between the different denominations. That's what I want to know about.
You know what? It's crazy.
I mean,
What I've
obviously,
learned, I'm sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, obviously, like the Southern Baptist Church have a very stereotypical view of what people think they're like, and
Yeah.
like the Joel Osteen type, I don't know what you want to call them, evangelist
Yeah,
type
evangelists
churches.
are insane.
You have a very
I think,
specific
but
vision of those in your mind too.
generally,
Are there any others that
evangelists
stick out?
are like Jehovah's Witnesses, where they feel like they have to go out and tell people how they should live their life.
Yes, but you picture,
and a lot of them,
you picture
a lot
the
of
guy
evangelists fall into prosperity gospel nonsense.
right, and you
So
picture
like,
them standing
God
at
give
the
you
pulpit,
money if you give money to God, like
going, waving his
Um,
arm and talking real crazy and
Yeah.
loud and
well,
crazy.
Southern Baptists are very theatrical too. Don't get me wrong.
Right. That's what I meant. Like, you've got both of these. You have a picture in your mind of what they're like.
If I break it down, the difference between the denominations is how long you're stuck in church.
I could tell
Like-
you that Roman Catholic churches is long and boring and very
Uh-huh.
dry. That's what
Now-
I can tell you.
With a Pentecostal, at least the ones like the one I went to, the Pentecostal church I went to, we had 1,000,001 dance breaks.
See, that sounds more fun to me.
You know what? It would be if it didn't happen 6, 7, 8, 9 goddamn times in the middle of the pastor's sermon. So he'll say, like, and then Jesus washed his feet. Din, 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 and then 20 minutes of that. And then he says another sentence, and then it din, 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 din. I'm like, okay, how are any of these people in this church fat? Because we're dancing for hours.
Have you ever seen, like, on 90 Day Fiance when they go into churches in like other countries? Like, there's one I remember in Haiti where they're like screaming and like doing all kinds of crazy shit. There's a little white guy there like cowering in
the speaking when I thought tongues was a thing, and I was like, no, they're not saying anything though.
This is gibberish.
It's supposed to be the Holy Spirit goes into your body and you speak this ancient language.
Sounds kind of bullshitty to me.
Fucking stupid. It is.
Have I ever told you my really good idea for churches to get more people for
no.
Christian churches?
What? Oh no!
Why is the body of Christ a little shitty wafer? Make that shit a double stuff Oreo.
I hate
You'll bring the people.
Well, it's because they don't want to
Oreos and milk.
Well,
Body
because
of
they
Christ.
don't want to say.
Here's your Oreo.
They don't want to say Christ is black.
Well, it's an Oreo, so it's both. So you can have it either way.
Well.
Body of Christ.
Well, no, he was just
here's
a
your
really
Oreo,
he was just a
here's your
really
sip of milk when
well-spoken
you're done
black
eating
guy.
it. That's what they should use: milk and cookies instead of wine and little tasteless wafers.
Little bland
The
wafer.
body of Christ should be a double stuffed Oreo. All I'm saying.
And the hard and fast rules were always funny to me because it was like the rules were so different, but in like it's like taking a bunch of tiny rules and just altering them a little bit. Like the blood of Christ is supposed to be wine,
Right.
because Christ is very closely tied to wine. But we can't do wine because little kids.
Sure.
So we'll do grape juice.
Sure.
But like, so you're bastardizing what
Right.
Jesus said.
Okay.
I should be
So
drinking wine as a child.
So look. Then I'll go the other. So then we'd say the body of Christ is supposed to be bread, right? Give me some fucking challah.
Unleavened bread. Yeah. No.
Give me a nice rye. Like, why am I eating a fucking tasteless cracker?
A tasteless wafer that melts in your mouth because it's affordable.
Go down to the local bakery, grab a couple
They go to
loaves
the
of
dollar
Italian
store.
bread, slice that shit up. Body of Christ, here's your slice of Italian bread with a little butter.
They just don't. I was like, for me, whenever I deal with like, it never made sense to me for like religious people to be hypocritical, and humans are naturally hypocritical.
Yes, of course we are. We are terrible
just
people
like,
and a wasteful
we're following
people.
behind this divine being,
Dude.
who's supposed to be all powerful, has no like, is the center of everything, but contradicts themselves so much. It's like, well, God made man in his image, and then woman came from the rib of God. I mean, from the rib of man.
Yeah.
Like, but why a vagina then?
Yeah, why doesn't it have a dick?
Did Adam? What did Adam have a penis prior? Because what was the use of it?
Oh, peeing.
You don't need that though. Women prove that.
God made Adam with a penis
Women
to
prove
pee.
that you don't need that.
Yeah, but he was like, we'll put it on the outside so it's easier to aim, right?
And what? So then, why are there balls?
So
or was it just a tube? You see what I'm saying? How ridiculous! I'm just gonna keep.
It's like a fidget toy. And then he made woman, and he was like, you know what? Let's give the man somewhere to stick this. And then he's like, and we'll make the balls carry the little swimmy guys, and they'll go into the hole, and there'll be eggs in there, and then all of a sudden it's a baby.
God made man without the idea of procreation ever being a thing, and then Adam was like, well, I'm lonely, and I want to put this in something.
Y'all gave me this dick that's hanging down here, and I ain't got nothing to do with it. I've been playing with my balls like a pair of Chinese balls. Oh, that wouldn't have existed at that point, I guess.
And
I have Chinese balls.
The ones that clack.
Yeah, look. Hey.
Yep, I hear it.
I got them. They're actually quite soothing. And sometimes I think about it, and I'm like, am I pretending these are my nuts as I roll them around in my hand?
And as time goes on, I started like, wow, you really hate people. People are the worst. That means you're saying, by your ethos, that God just made a faulty creation.
Yeah.
Like, God just sucks at making things.
Yeah, God does suck at making things. He's terrible at making things.
But you don't want to admit that he does?
Again.
You really, it's like having a terrible boss, but you can't tell the boss that they're bad at their job. That's really what it is.
Listen, the only good argument for there being a creator to me is the duck-billed platypus, because you look at that shit and you're like, yeah, somebody was fucking around with those.
Somebody just jigsawed this thing together.
Somebody's like, this is gonna be fucking hilarious. Watch what
We're gonna give it a bill. We're gonna give it a beaver's tail. We're gonna give it a little poisonous barb that does nothing.
To me, that's less like one creator and more like there's a warehouse where they were making creatures,
just assembling it.
And some dude in the warehouse.
And Lucy fell asleep on it.
Some dude
she fell asleep on the line.
Watch this. He just takes a bunch of pieces and starts sticking them together. It's like, yo, look what I made.
Tokes,
like,
he tokes, puts them together.
Like, I don't know, I'm gonna put it down on Earth. Let's see what they think of this fucking thing. That's the only argument I say.
It's just like, if as long as like at this point, God is Steve Buscemi. Like,
Steve Buscemi. Why?
Like, oh, have you not seen oh god, I forgot. Now I can't think of the show, but it has Harry Potter. Can't think of his name right now.
Oh, and, yeah, I know exactly what show you're talking about.
Miracle Workers.
Miracle Workers. Yeah, I know.
And
I've never watched
Steve Buscemi
it, but I know what you're talking
is
about.
God. He plays God, and he's generally kind of inept.
I've heard it's excellent, and I think you told me it was excellent.
It is a really good show. At least up until second season. I have not seen past.
Aww. Oh, okay. You just haven't.
No, I haven't seen past the second season.
Got it. I've been watching Fargo. Did I tell you that?
Yes,
good.
You did,
not
many
to
times.
Not to get off topic. Really fucking good. Almost done with the second season. So good. Oh, so good. Anyway.
But yeah, like, just like growing up with dealing with different denominations, just like, you know what? Just you guys interpret shit however you want. And it's based on whoever is just telling everybody else what to think. Are you so proud of yourself to not think for yourself? And generally in the doctrine, no, yeah, you're supposed to be proud of not thinking for yourself.
But that's what religion is for, man. People don't want to have to think for themselves and come up with reasons for shit. That's why it existed to begin with. So people didn't have to face all those scary ideas themselves. There was explanations for everything so that they didn't have to go, sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry everybody. That was really fucking loud. You know, when they
So
thought
you just
about
peaked
all,
hard.
I know I'm gonna have to fix that in post. They're gonna have to think about all those questions that are on their mind about life and destiny and what it means to be a human, and then
Yeah.
those were just the answers. And I
And the
think we're out
internet
of a
makes it
time for that.
Yeah, and the internet makes it so much worse for people to do that. And I have just been on this like weird crusade, this starting fights with people on the internet now,
Oh yeah,
but not starting fights because I want to start a fight, but just because they show themselves to be a pompous asshole. So I want to see where they're gauged
we
at.
should. We've discussed
And
this. I almost called you a different name. We've
oh, that
talked.
would have been
We've talked
oh,
about
gone.
this. When you argue on the internet, even if
Yeah,
you win,
nobody
you lose.
wins.
Even if you win,
Yeah,
you lose. As our
and I
friend
stopped
Rock
being so
says.
sincere, being so sincere about it. But I just wanted to see. I just want to see because I'm fascinated by it as of recent, and my fascination will go away.
Yeah.
But I was watching this video by a creator named Kusari,
Okay.
and he's talking about this guy called Jared333. Now
Jared 333. Okay.
that's the name. He's a psychopath. The guy is completely insane.
Okay.
But he stalked the the YouTuber. But regardless, he pretended to be a manager of another disturbed individual named Daniel Larson. Daniel Larson is also like a schizophrenic, child diddling weirdo who's also homeless, who we thought would have died by now, but he's a survivor, absolute survivor. The man's had
He not
scabies,
gonna give
trench
up.
foot. He's not. He is scabies, trench foot. He still thinks he's
What
a
the fuck is
celebrity.
trench foot?
It's called trench foot because of soldiers who were in trenches. Their feet were always constantly wet,
Okay.
so they started pretty much their feet started decaying essentially
Why does this guy have a wet foot?
because he's homeless and he refuses to change his shoes.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, now I
He
feel
doesn't take
bad
his shoes off,
smirking about it.
and he doesn't. No, he's fucking piece of garbage. But he also
It's true. You can be homeless and be a piece of shit.
yes,
Both can be
like he's
true.
homeless because of him. When he gets into a like a housing development, it's not good enough for him, so he'll start like running water, causing fires,
One of those
like
kind
breaking
of guys.
shit.
Okay.
Yeah, like he's a piece of garbage. And he's like he one of his biggest things is that he's obsessed with and I think an America's Got Talent contestant.
Piff the
Her name's
Magic
the
Dragon?
Oh God. I don't remember because you saying that threw me off of what her name was.
Oh,
But
I
he
ruined it.
he was obsessed with her. But again, he's an admitted pedophile, and I think he only said that because he could get tricked into saying things. But he's gross. This guy's gross. And this one guy said I was his manager, and was said no, you're not. And it just went on. Jarrett went to this thing. Well, I went to the comment section because I'm in fucking dumbass.
You are a glutton for the punishment
Yeah,
of others in the comment section.
So somebody made a comment, especially YouTube comments, but somebody said, "So now if he commits a crime, we won't have it on video to let the justice system let the system serve justice. Sorry. Do not report his channel. That will destroy evidence." I understand what they're saying, especially understanding internet culture. You report his channel, he stops posting stuff that tells on him.
Right.
And the police, especially with internet shit, they don't do a goddamn thing. They say we'll investigate, give us a link, and then it disappears. Now, if you make it harder for them to do anything, if you make it harder for them to search for stuff, they're just gonna put it on the back burner and you'll never see it again.
Right.
And if you report way too much, they're definitely not gonna see anything because cops don't give a shit about helping you.
Cry wolf syndrome.
Especially for the internet. So somebody then argues, it will still be on the cloud. Things that you put on the internet stays around forever. I'm like, okay, I know you're announcing a slogan here, but
Sure.
this person has a point.
Yeah.
Let them do what they're doing. You're not helping anything by stopping them from doing
it does stay on the internet forever, but now you're adding another step and roadblock to anybody trying to do something about it, which is
absolutely
go find that cloud data.
And this guy's arguing like hard, and I was just like, okay, I have to say something. I'm like, dude, are you trying to make a point, or are you just trying to win an argument? Because you're not you're showing your lack of critical thinking skills and understanding why this person said this.
Right.
You're just repeatedly saying, well, you're still going to be online when you, oh, man, people are just so stupid for not understanding that when it goes online, it's there forever. And there's people who could have archived, but you're saying there could be. We're saying this will happen. This man will just not post crazy shit anymore. So then he's going to be abusing his dog. The guy's already kind of responsible for the death of his wife because his wife had alcohol related like brain issues.
Okay.
And she was having like seizures and shit. And he got her more alcohol because he thought she was hungover. So she ended up hospitalized. He's a fucking idiot too. Don't get me wrong.
It sounds like it, yeah.
So she ends up hospitalized. Oh yeah. His reasoning was like, well, I figure, when you drink more, it cures a hangover. No, it doesn't. It just, that doesn't cure. You have a hangover because you're drinking, you fucking. But anyway, so she ends up in the hospital and he records her dying. He records her having a seizure. And he posted it on YouTube and then deleted it shortly after.
What is wrong, people?
Right? And so now you're on the internet essentially saying well, everyone should report this because it doesn't belong here, but not, this man should be in jail for terrible things that he has and possibly will do. And you're going to just say, well, he should cover up his evidence. So either you're a plant of some sort and you are that type of person, so you're doing this 3D chess kind of shit, saying, trying to like trick people into doing this one thing so you can get away with doing your other pud shit, or you're a fucking moron with zero critical thinking skills.
I think it's the latter.
I think so too. I honestly think so too. I don't think that somebody's doing 3D chess, but I do like how somebody commented to me.
Wait, what was your comment?
My comment was essentially what I did say just earlier.
Okay, so it
was just like,
that was the gist.
I feel like we're giving the police way too much credit here. If you make it easy for them to get evidence, they will actually do something.
Right.
That's why people
same thing I said.
like them get away with it.
You're giving them a roadblock. Yeah.
But somebody replied to me, you're still giving them way too much credit. And I had to reply, you are correct. I am. I was giving the police way too much credit. Because I don't think police would do a goddamn thing.
I feel like when it's
because Cyrax is still not in jail.
I feel like they don't have enough time to do with like regular everyday crime that's happening in neighborhoods and areas. Like something that's being reported on the internet, there's just like they're like we can't even think about that.
It's a constant cycle. Yeah. It's a constant cycle that's moving. But we're not going to open up a new industry to like handle shit like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Again, police they have enough time to do protests. They have, like we were just talking about how, well, if we give them money, they'll be able to more rightly do those things, and then we give them more money and nothing changes.
Yeah.
And police being busy is based purely in the state, the county, and the area in which they are in.
We also keep them busy doing dumb shit too.
Yeah. Oh, dealing with dumb. Don't get me wrong. I think police deal with a lot of crazy shit all the fucking time.
Sure.
But I also don't think that anything is being done to mitigate that kind of stress and to help people going through other different types of stresses. It is not a it's not a binary. It is literally there's a multitude of things we could do that aren't even being thought of because nobody wants to do anything or wants to finance that type of thing. We don't want new taxes.
Nope, nobody does.
So since we don't want new taxes, we don't want new programs towards people like disturbed individuals using the internet and spreading their depravity to everyone else.
Yeah, nope. They don't have time for that kind of thing because they're too busy writing speeding tickets for people going 5 miles over the limit.
Making fucking speed traps.
Drug crimes that don't hurt anybody.
Yep.
Shit like that.
Like if we get rid of a lot of the frivolous shit that cops have to deal with.
Well, that's what they spend their majority on. As far as I know, that's what they spend the majority of their time dealing with. They're not spending the majority of their time dealing with violent crime.
Yeah.
Or sociopathic behavior. They're spending their time dealing with mundane bullshit Like you said, speed
Mhm.
traps and minor drug infractions and stuff like that. That's what they're spending all
And
their time
I'm
on.
not saying catching people speeding. I'm literally talking about speed traps.
Yeah, that's what I
Like,
mean.
yeah, no, I'm just clarifying it for people
Yep.
listening
Yep. Oh,
because I know that that's what
look,
you
if
mean.
somebody's going 150 miles per hour down the highway, yeah, pull them over. If somebody's doing 80 and everybody else is doing 80, leave it alone. Don't
Yeah.
pull them over because they have
Um,
out-of-state plates. Like,
the
who
the sheer
cares?
fact
Do
that
something else.
we as people have to go, oh, it's quota time, so we need to drive.
Ugh.
Like, that's a universal thing in the U.S. at least. It's quota time. Why is there quota time? Why is that a fucking thing?
Shouldn't be. The police office is not the police stations are not there to make money. That's not the point. They're not.
That's not what they're supposed to be.
There should not be in the budget an allocation of here's where we expect to make based on fines and shit each year.
Yep.
That
So we're
should
gonna
be not. That should not be assumed as part of your
so
budget.
we're gonna stress people with authority, like a level of authority. We're gonna stress them out to make a quota, some kind of bullshit quota, and then we expect them to treat the people they're supposed to be protecting with any level of real respect. Get the fuck out of here with that.
No, I agree with you. I don't disagree at all.
Look, I got stuck in a quota. I what was it? There was a truck that was waving back and forth in front of me on the highway. I went into the fast lane and passed that truck.
Right. We
The
talked
cop
about
didn't
this
go
before.
after the truck. They went after me.
We talked
the
about
cop
this
was very yep.
on the
Oh
podcast
yeah, we did.
because I had the same thing happen, and
Yep.
I said that, oh yeah, they just let me go, and I was like, oh, I was just trying to get past the truck, and they did
Oh,
not
yeah.
let you go.
Nope. He gave me. He was respectful, but he gave me a ticket. That shit should not happen. I know it's an anecdotal thing that just happened to me.
Yeah,
That's
it's anecdotal,
fine.
but it happened to me too. I just didn't
But
get a ticket, but the time
but
was
it
still spent.
shouldn't be the focus.
Right.
It's a waste of time.
Exactly. That the same happened to
So
me too. I didn't get a ticket, but it was still a waste of time and resources to pull me over for that. So I don't know. I just want to give a quick shout out that I know I've talked many times on the podcast about the coddling of the American mind, the canceling of the American mind. One of the co-authors of Coddling, Jonathan Haidt, has a new book out today, The Anxious Generation, which I think I was telling you about the other day, which is all about the effect social media is having on children, Gen Z these days, and basically fucking their minds up and making them more anxious and stuff. So check that book out if anybody likes to read. I'm going to actually already picked it up from
oh my
I
god.
have like 16 library cards because you know what I did?
I was about to say, we've been bitching about not having a library here, and
Yes,
here you are with
but you know what I
hoarding
did?
them all.
So you know what I
hoarding
did?
all the cards.
I went to like a bunch of libraries online where you could get an e-card, like Chicago and all these other ones, and just signed up for a library card. And where it asked for my address, I put in the address of the library.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And it gave me an e-card. So I literally have like 16 cards now for Libby. So when I need a book now, one of those has it. So that book just came out today. Our local libraries and even the NYPL didn't have it. But I found it in one of the other libraries, so I have it on my Kindle ready to read. Hopefully later after I have another book to finish. But yeah, check that out. I guess it's time we should start our topic since we're an hour and 30 minutes into this podcast.
It's time to begin the complaining.
Today, we're going to talk about Nepo babies. Nepo babies, they take jobs from you.
Do.
Man, that was a great cartoon. I loved that cartoon. They tried. Did you ever see
the 3D Muppet
immediately
Babies?
off topic? Yeah, the new one.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's not anywhere near as good.
It was really boring, and it missed the fun of the original.
Absolutely missed.
It's not for me. I'm an adult.
They missed. I don't care. I would have watched it if it was as good as the cartoon from when we were kids. Yeah, Nepo babies. So not just Nepo babies, but Nepo babies meaning anybody who's getting jobs or getting careers because their parents are kind of they're grandfathered in because of their parents, but not just family, like anybody that's getting a job because of who they know,
not what you know.
Yeah. And that shit seems to happen everywhere. I mean, it's super prevalent in Hollywood. We see it all the time. And like, look,
yeah,
like Billy Lord is the first one that comes to mind because I'm watching AHS right now. like, yeah, she's Carrie Fisher's daughter. So she's got a famous ass mom. So of course she's able to get into the industry. And she's a good actress. I'm not saying she's
Yeah.
bad, but she gets that spot that somebody else might have gotten because she's super fucking famous. And again, I'm not saying she doesn't deserve the spot. She might have gotten it on her own merit, but she didn't. she got it because she's super famous. And you know, it happens everywhere. We see it all throughout these major industries like music, TV, movies that we all know, but it happens like just to regular people too. And it's like such a fucked up concept.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether it's jobs, college spots, particularly, like college spots are particularly bad. People getting into colleges, getting spots in colleges because their parents went there and paid a lot of
Oh,
money.
my son,
My
Buford
son's gonna-
Lee Willingberry, has been part of this institution for many of years.
Our family goes back 17 generations at this lovely and very prestigious institution. So Wilbury, you said Wilbury, right? Yes, Wilbury. Wilbury will be going to the school as well if I have anything to say about it, and my $1,000,005 says that he will be coming here, won't he, Mr. Dean?
Daddy, may I suck upon the teat?
You may, as soon as I pop it out. Hold on.
I mean, that's how I feel about them. But I mean, I'm not part of the club.
But it's like I said, it's not just parents. Like there's people that just like know somebody and then they get an in, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just
Well,
like,
have you ever had like somebody you worked with and like you worked in retail, but they were really good with the manager or somebody that was higher up,
yup,
and then they move on, and so the next manager they get hired is that person,
dude.
and they just they are the worst at their fucking job,
Dude,
or they're an asshole.
When I worked for Musicland, and they had, like I said, they had Media Play, Sam Goody, Suncoast.
Mm-hmm.
All the people that got promoted to managers were okay. So my manager, when I started, he got promoted to a district manager. All the managers he hired to work in other stores were his favorites,
his friends
from the store. So like one at a time, people that worked at the store with me, and then I was included in that group at one point. Like it got to be my turn because he liked me. So then I got a store. And again, I'm not saying I wasn't qualified to do the job. I was. I did a good job. But I certainly got that job instead of somebody else because he liked me. I wouldn't have gotten the interview if he didn't like me. That's why I was given the opportunity. Otherwise, it could have been somebody off the street or it could have been anybody else that worked there. And it's just...
Well, we're not saying... Okay, so I'm not saying that it always scales bad. Although I did kind of present it that way.
No,
it doesn't always scale bad, but I think it's like...
Hiring from within is fine. But my point is... I didn't get hired from within specifically because I was so good at my job, which I was. I did a good job. I was a hard worker. I got hired because he liked me and we were friends. And he was like, I got to open a store. I need a manager.
Which is a bad reason to hire somebody.
Yes.
I don't get it.
And again, I could have gotten the job on merit, but I don't know if I would have gotten the opportunity on merit.
Yeah.
I think I would have been passed over if it weren't for the fact that he was my friends with me and he liked me and he was like, hey, you want to come run a store for me? And I was like, sure. Do I get paid more?
Yeah.
Not really. Okay. Where is it? Much farther than it is now. Okay.
Jesus. Yeah, I always hated it. I felt bad for any manager anybody I ever like worked with, and I was like, oh yeah, you work around here? Oh no, well I work here, but I live like 2 hours away.
Yeah. Like,
holy sh!
Hey.
Oh,
how about this? You're gonna be a manager of this store. It pays a small percentage more than your current job, and you now have to drive 50 miles every day.
But you get drive time.
Nope, no drive time.
No drive time.
No drive time.
Fuck that. It's part of your salary. I'm sorry.
I was just happy to be like moving up in some way, shape, or form. Being like, okay, I'm progressing in life as a grown up. I am doing better. Therefore, I am doing a good job being a grown up.
It never dawned on me how that works on the mindset of the people who do get that like position. Like the amount of pressure that like leans on them sometimes.
Tremendous.
Like
when I think back to the amount of pressure and the amount of anxiety I felt over my job, because it was like I was there when it was starting to become a failing business. So then that's when they start getting desperate and they're like trying to push. They're like, okay, you've got these quotas to meet. You got to back to quotas. You got to push this at the counter. You got to get people to sign up for this. You got to get them in the loyalty program. Oh, you didn't get X amount of people to sign up today. You bad job. You bad job. We only had 6 customers today, and they all already fucking have cards. Well, that's not our problem. You should be outside with a big sign spinning it around, telling people to come on in. Like, the amount of pressure I felt, and when I think
offer
about
a blowjob,
the amount of money,
do whatever you can.
Yeah, go outside, get on your knees, and open your mouth, and just start sucking whoever comes by. Just, hey, you sign up for this, free blowjob. You got any female employees? Get them out there too. You don't know who wants what.
Penis, no penis, double penis. Who cares?
We got to have lickers. We got to have suckers. We got to have fuckers. Whatever you need, you get them out there, stand them up, put up a big sign, and sign some people up for that fucking program.
Put a name tag on that vacuum. And get it working.
We're also in a dying mall that gets no foot traffic anymore. That's not our problem. But yeah, when I think
that's corporate in a nutshell.
Amount of pressure, I know the amount of pressure I was under for the amount of money I made, and the driving all that distance and all the hours I worked because I didn't get overtime because I was salaried.
Yeah,
out of a pittance. But yeah, I think nepotism in general kind of leaks into every aspect of those things. Whether it's work, whether it's college, whatever it may be. And it's just a fucked up way. You know, I'm not saying that merit has to be 100% of the reason behind it. But I think, you know, all these people who are famous or who have gotten these great jobs or have gotten into these great schools and taken other people's spots because of who they know, you know, somebody who's worked their whole life for something, they've worked their ass off for 10 years, and then somebody comes along and spends a year, and all of a sudden, like, they're in the industry and they're doing really well because of who they know. It's fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
It's not fair.
And unfortunately, it can be, like, super rampant, especially, like, in a lot of structured things, which is, I think, is a human thing, but we can't not mix business and pleasure all the goddamn time, because that happened it happened multiple times in the Army. I'm not going to rat anybody out, but it happened way too often, where that was half the reason why I didn't re-enlist, because it was just, like, I could run my office really well by myself. When we didn't have leadership because one was deployed, the other one was out, and and the one leader we were supposed to get in had a car accident. So
that's terrible.
It was just me, and I ran
laughing.
my office.
It was uncomfortable laughter.
I'll be honest, she deserved it. Her story made no goddamn sense. Her story made no goddamn sense. No, fuck her, because I had to do her job and she treated me like garbage. But
yeah. She deserved to get in that car accident.
I was deployed and doing her job stateside. Fuck that. She was like, "Oh, you didn't even get my email?" It's like, you emailed my personal email, and I'm sorry, I get junk mail. It got washed away, and I was in the middle of an active, like, deployment. What the fuck is wrong with you? But regardless, her story is that her husband fell asleep while she was driving, and he poked her in the side, and it tickled, and she pulled the car
and
got into an accident. That's her excuse.
That
was her
fake.
Fucking excuse.
That's so
and
fake.
I accepted it. I accepted it just because. What else am I? Who am I to tell you that that didn't happen?
Yeah.
But that's so fucking stupid.
That
means, bitch, if you sneeze, you are a hazard to everybody.
That means every distraction that there is when you're driving a car would cause you to get to an accident. If a poke in the side did the trick.
But yeah, so that was her excuse.
I hope she doesn't have a cell phone when she's driving. Jesus Christ.
Right?
So kill everybody.
God forbid if a spider landed on her. So anyway, I'm running the office for months, and I'm not very logistical, and I don't like being in leadership positions like that. But I was the senior specialist, so that was my job. I made sure I got along with everybody. I made sure everybody got the information they needed to get. I essentially ran it really well. And then one guy got sergeant. He really was not good at his job, and he's the one that took over. And nobody wanted to come by the office because we needed to build rapport with the different, like, platoons in order. Like,
how did he get the job?
To have them, because he knew everybody there.
Nepotism.
And he wasn't that good. He really, like, nobody liked him.
I know.
But he was friends with the right
I
people.
mean, I know for a fact one of my managers hired an assistant manager because he was fucking her.
Oh yeah, we've seen that.
So that happens too. It's who you're fucking.
Well, they're under that umbrella too. Like,
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't. This was not.
we're using nepotism as like an umbrella term for like people who get in easy.
This definitely
with like no merit.
I want to be clear. This wasn't a situation of like him taking advantage of this person. They were just fucking because they
were just fucking.
She wanted to fuck him and he wanted to fuck her. And then he was like, "Hey, you can be the assistant manager since you're blowing me."
These are to my fellow nerds. This happens with D&D all the goddamn time. Where we'll have a table with a bunch of nerd dudes, like 5 of us. One of us has a girl.
Nerd girls.
One of us gets. Oh, we always want a nerd girl until there is a nerd girl there. And one of them starts fucking. Usually the DM gets a girlfriend because, you know, being a DM, you have to play all these characters. You usually can be charismatic as long as you're not a dick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, when I played D&D, it was less number crunchy and more story based. So a lot of we were like actors who played D&D as opposed to no. A lot of D&D nerds are just like neckbeards who are into numbers and maybe very autistic.
Okay, so they're more about
but
what
there's
you're rolling
thespians
in the stats and shit.
Yeah, but there's thespians, like people who literally like
just want to get in the character.
Yeah, and now I'm on that side more.
Yeah,
so.
I would definitely be on that side. That's where I would find fun.
Yeah, that's where I find more fun. Like the numbers matter, but they're not the whole thing. So the one gets a girlfriend, and all of a sudden the girlfriend has all the best stats, and she gets to be the kitty girl. The half cat warrior with, like, you know, she's always meowing at the characters, and
so
the DM, she never dies.
That would be so annoying.
We all like, she gets like all the centric, like it happens all the fucking time.
I can imagine.
And what got me,
we're talking about D&D nerds, man. When they get a woman, they're gonna do anything they can to keep them.
They'll do anything they can. I'm like, and the thing is, again, growing up playing D&D, none of us were like sexless nerds. We were nerds, but we had girlfriends. We had other things going. That shit didn't happen to me until college. And I started noticing this other side that I didn't understand. So it was so alien to me. But it's a nepotism thing.
It is, absolutely,
like,
yeah.
And it's usually the opposite if it's siblings on a D&D table. Like, they're always some terrible shit.
Oh,
like,
God,
they're doing terrible shit to each other.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, that's how it would go with my brothers. Absolutely.
Just
be fucking with
getting each other's way on purpose.
Shit, that's what would happen if I was playing with you. I'm sure I'd just be trying to fuck with you the whole time.
Oh, I'm sure if you were DMing, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
If my wife played, I think that's how we would play, just because I know she would be coming after me all the time.
Right. Yep.
You've seen her play board games with me.
I could see it. Yes.
but it's just it's a weird thing that we don't actually think about. We just think that that's okay. It's sort of like mindset when people are like, well, they're my family, so I have a obligation to them. It's like but you're not analyzing the obligation you feel that you should have on them. You're just saying it, and then that's it.
Not just the obligation, the entitlement too. Like, well, they're my family. Yes. They should be allowed. They should get first.
No, the other side of that. Yes, like, absolutely.
It's my kid. Of course he should get in. I mean, it was my school.
Yeah.
And thinking you're absolutely entitled to it instead of, again, having it be based on merit. You could have the dumbest fucking kid in the world be like, oh, of course Pembroke should get into this college. Yeah. He's my son, and I went here, and if he didn't go here, it would be complete anarchy.
When has entitlement ever been seen in a positive light? Because there's too many people who are okay with being entitled, but I've never seen anybody use entitlement as a positive.
Yeah, you're right. I can't think of a positive situation where it's, I mean, like
if somebody is entitled to something.
Yes. Like I was going to say, like, you as a vet, you are entitled to services you need.
But that just means that I need services.
Right.
Like, I
think you're entitled to those services.
But for me to be feel entitled,
right.
If I feel entitled to those things, I guess it's situational because, yeah, I did this. I'm just of the mind, like, I feel like I should get the help, but I don't feel like,
entitled. It's a different
yeah,
word.
like
It has a different
it's a
connotation.
when somebody has the mindset of entitlement. Maybe that's a better way of putting
Yes,
it.
yeah,
The
I think
mindset of
that's where we're
entitlement
going.
is
Yeah,
never a good thing.
no, I agree
It's
with
like,
you.
well, I know what I want and I get what I want, but you are not something
I just
special.
picture Cartman on that one episode of South Park.
I do what I want.
I do what I want. Fuck
Whatever,
I do
whatever.
whatever.
Oh man,
That's
yes.
classic South
Oh
Park.
my god, that's but yeah, just like it's so and it's very rare when a nepo person, nepo person, nipple people, nepo
Nepo
people,
people.
are not just annoying as shit.
Yeah, they tend to be super annoying, and often aren't very humble or as humble as they should be.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's cultivated that
I feel
way.
like if I was the benefit of nepotism in some way like that, where I really got something I did not earn so much,
Mm-hmm.
I would feel incredibly humble and just like ashamed a little bit.
Well, I have noticed this thing, especially with YouTubers, Nepo YouTubers, like they're rich kids, like Jaden Smith when he did YouTube and shit like that.
I don't. God, if we get into
They
this, I'm gonna start screaming.
they always try to find a way to validate their space on there. Like they struggle with knowing that this isn't
They
for
didn't earn
them.
it. No.
They didn't earn it, but since they're there, they have to justify their existence without, maybe saying, you know what? I'm going to try to separate myself from my name and openly say, I'm going to separate myself from my name. I want to try this.
I would love for that to happen.
But they don't.
No, they don't.
Because some of them know the reality of it is, one, they're not going to. It's going to be difficult. They're not going to be able to do it.
I can't think
and
of...
they do want to use the benefit of having their name.
Of course they do. There is...
But they can't admit that.
I can't remember. There's either... I don't remember if it's a musician or an actor, but there is a woman who specifically changed her last name so she did not... I remember reading that. So she did not get the benefits of the nepotism because of her last name. And now I can't remember who it was. I'm going to have to look that up and remember. I remember reading about an actress that had changed her last name, so she did not get the benefit of the name. She wanted to make her own way and earn her own keep, and didn't.
Because no, I don't think it was her. Because I know Jamie Lee Curtis had said something along those lines, but people knew who she was, so it didn't really fucking matter, regardless if she separated her name from it.
That almost sounds familiar to me, though.
Because she's a bit of an elitist when it comes to that stuff, regardless. But we're gonna hit dead air in a second.
Well, Nicolas Cage did. I mean, he changed his last name. That.
But being crazy is what got him famous.
Yeah, but I don't know that he specifically changed his last name to avoid the Coppola, the nepotism from the Coppola name.
Yeah,
but he did change his last name when he had that famous last name.
Yeah, I don't think anybody attached him to a Coppola until like he was already famous.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember who I'm thinking
of. But yeah, they spend so much time trying to justify their space. And it's a whole new battle that I don't like. I understand it to a smaller degree because I feel like I have imposter syndrome, so I have to constantly like justify anything. Just going to the doctor, I have to justify to myself and to everyone else.
Yeah, no, I get it. Sorry, I'm still stuck on it. Angelina Jolie also changed because Jon Voight's her dad, right?
Yes,
but I don't. Yes, again, I don't know if that was to avoid nepotism.
But she was also like a rebel back in like
early Angelina. I don't know if that's just because she wanted to have a special. She wanted to have her own. She just was like, I'm going to take my last name because I'm rich. Or if she did it, I don't know. I'm going to stop. It's bothering me because there was one. I remember reading about one specific person. I thought it was a woman.
Well, write it in the description. It'll give our listeners some homework. When they're like, why is this name in the description? They don't bother
fucking writing emails and shit when I ask anyway. Yeah. How about, you guys were nice enough. We actually got some emails when Rin was on last week. How about some questions for us? God damn it. Or some opinions. Tell us what you think about.
Nobody listens to us for us.
I don't know why they listen, but they do. So come on, man. Send us some emails. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get off topic there.
No, I lost my train of thought, unfortunately. But it's just...
Choo-choo!
Yep. Just watch it pass on by. that ding, ding, ding.
So yeah, nepotism sucks. It's not good. I wish we could get it out of our system, but it's impossible.
It's literally us.
It's not possible. It's like just another one of those things that we just have to live with, and we have to deal with.
Use nepotism wisely, or at least be like if you're just aware of it. If you're aware and honest about like nepotism when it happens,
yes,
being somebody who having it done to you, or being a witness to it, or you doing it yourself.
Just be honest and appreciate.
Honest about it. Yeah.
Hey, I know I'm here because of XYZ, but I do appreciate the fact that I'm here, and I want you to know I don't take it for granted. That's it.
Yeah, that would relieve so much goddamn pressure, so much hate.
I think
like,
so.
There will be hate, but I think it'll alleviate a lot of it.
Yeah, I think it would alleviate. Like, I know for me, it would probably alleviate it. You know, if there was some situation. I don't know.
Was there a specific reason why you wanted to bring up nepotism, Nepo babies?
Yeah, there was, but I'm not going to get into it.
Oh, okay. All right, I just was wondering.
Yeah, there is.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into it though.
Okay.
It just came to mind. It's not something.
So much time.
It's not something I wanted to get into on the podcast. It's just something that made me think of it, and then I was like, "Oh, that's a good topic for us to cover," because that's definitely
that's a mystery for you guys.
That comes up. Yeah,
you'll never know.
You'll never know. All right, guys, that's the podcast. We're a little shorter than usual, but it's still a long fucking podcast at almost an hour and a half of content, right?
Yeah.
And Jesus, during the last 10 weeks, we've probably delivered 24 hours worth of content. You could listen a whole day to our last 10 episodes. Each
episode is about 2 hours, if not more.
You could go through and spend an entire day listening to our last like 10 episodes or so. So yeah, how about you do us a favor, like I said, you go to the website, you go to the contact page, and you fill out that form and send us an email. You gotta go to
ATIWIHY.com.
That's ATIWIHY.com. I'm going to use this real soothing voice now to trick you, so you feel comforted and want to do what I want you to do and comply.
I want to learn some mentalist tricks.
Yeah, well, we should ask Jobeth. We gotta ask him some things we can do on the podcast to mentally confuse people and get them to send us emails. You could also email podcast@ATIWIHY, or if you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do that and we'll play it on the air. That's 929-564-4262. I don't actually know what happens when you call it. I don't know if it's like an automated thing or if I set up a voicemail so it says like, this is ATIWIHY, leave us a message. I don't remember because I set it up so long ago and nobody ever calls it. But we would appreciate that. It would give us something fun and some feedback and, make us feel good. So if you listen to this and you want to make us feel good, you should go do that. You got anything to add, bud?
Nope. I've spoken enough.
All right. Well, then that's the podcast, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Is it too loud for you?
That's a little.
Turn your volume down, dude. Jesus.
I do. I can't hear you if I have the volume down.
All right. I mean, I didn't set it super loud or anything.
I'm just saying.
Not that loud for me.
You're the one with the main setup here.
Not loud for me. Peace.
Later.